guys, so I'm out on a ride on the Bazo today. I'm not too fond of this thing, but it works. I was very much planning on just switching this over to a regular road bike, but I don't have bars that will fit in that stem. You know, they stretched out that stem so it would fit 26 instead of like the 22.2 I think it was meant to fit, but that's okay. It seems to work fine. It worked on the old bars. Got my 11-speed cassette with friction shifting. The seat post is backwards, so the seat is forward, which actually, since this is a 58, it tends to fit more like a 56 like that. I think it seems to work really well. So I really miss these, the ability to just adjust and raise and lower your stem as needed, whereas modern bikes, they took that away. That stem probably weighs more than, like, say, with the big steel wedge at the bottom and everything, it probably weighs more than like the stem and bars on modern bikes, but still. So what I thought would be interesting to test today, this is where the bars were. I raised them a little over an inch, about 1.5 inches probably. That's the max height. So I rode it, you know, it's very comfortable at that height. It's not very aggressive, pretty high front end. So I'm gonna do a segment, and I'm here at the end of old Route 13. As you can see, the road ends. I'm gonna do a segment up the road to the left here. Very mild. Oh, I don't know. It's probably a mile. Very mild climb, and I'm gonna have headwind. So I think it'll be interesting to see. I'm gonna do it 4 times, kind of as intervals. Once with the bars all the way up, and then once on the aerobars all the way up, and then I'm going to do it with the bars all the way down on the base bar, and then with the bars all the way down on the aerobar, if I can hold that position. And we'll test it out. We'll see what times I get. And I got my power meter there, so I can set, so I can pretty much hold 200 watts or so. 200 watts will be pretty slow up the climb, but that'll get me a nice workout for today. All right, let's do it. First 2 runs are complete. This is as low as it'll go. Probably about 2.5 inches lower. Let's try it out. Made it back. The bike did fine. I'm not sure. It's going to be really interesting to go look on Strava and see how those segments turned out. I found out that 200 watts was not going to work. I could not really climb the hill at 200 watts. That was just, that was never, like, 200 watts, I would almost came to a stop, I think, at one point, or at least got really slow. So, but the difference is in the stem. When it was all the way down, slammed as low as it would go, I was pretty uncomfortable at times in my lower back. Higher, I never had any back issues, really comfortable. So, pretty big difference there. And then, I set it up close to in between, probably a little bit lower. Actually, probably quite a bit lower than I had it at first. I set it up there and rode back the 10 miles back to the house and found it pretty comfortable, but that saddle is not going to work. It's just too, I don't know, old school. Like it doesn't feel like there's any platform to set on. You're on this big curve, very uncomfortable, but other than that, bike worked well. Okay, guys, let's check out the results here. So here's the AMAX Sprint. You can see it's 3/4 of a mile, about 100 feet, 1.5. It's a pretty mild climb. And my times, 3:17, 3:19, 3:28, 3:18, very similar times. And then here's my power, 2:21, and the rest of these are really close, 2:33, 2:37, 2:38. So very, very similar times, very similar power, and not much difference. So all the way up was my fastest time. My first run was my fastest. I think I know why. Also my lowest in power, and I think I know why. So the second run on the aerobars, pretty much the same speed, just slightly higher power. All the way down on the base bar, 3 minutes, 28 seconds, my longest time. Don't know why this one took longer. I've looked at it. I just rode this one, even though the power is much higher. I think I sped up and slowed down power a little bit on this one. And then my last one on the Aerobars, pretty similar to the first two, but more power out, a little more power output. Okay, so why is this 3 minutes and 17 seconds the lowest power, but it's also the fastest? Well, I think I actually started a little farther back on this one, so I probably started the segment with just a little bit more speed. I tried to start each segment without pedaling really hard, and then once I started the actual segment, pedal up to speed and try to hold 200 watts. So I found that when I got to the steep part of the hill, holding 200 watts just wasn't going to work. I had to get it up to about closer to 300 for, maybe 10 seconds or so. Otherwise, I was just going to about nearly fall off the bike. So the only real thing I discovered on this test is that I was a lot more comfortable with the bars up higher than I was with the bars lower over this short segment. So for the ride home, I raised them back, not as high as I originally had them, but fairly close, and rode home. I was really surprised by how, I thought I would be I thought I would be a few seconds faster and more efficient with the bars lower, but it was actually the opposite. I thought with the headwind, the fact that there was a headwind and the fact that even though it is a climb, it's a pretty shallow climb. But these aren't really speeds that are fast enough, I think, to test. I should have picked a flat and fast section. And if I do this again, which it's so easy to adjust the handlebars, so it's very easy for me to do this again, I might pick a fast, flat section where I'm going to be doing about 20 miles an hour and then see what kind of difference it makes to do that. So this test will happen again. We will try it later.